the camera opens on darkness. Not empty darkness, but the velvet density of midnight, the kind that hums with unseen potential. A single shaft of moonlight cuts across the frame, illuminating dust motes dancing like ancient memories. A low, resonant voice begins, smooth as obsidian and carrying the weight of forgotten truths. She doesn't enter the room. She emerges from the shadows. A silhouette at first, defined by an unseen curve, the deliberate slowness of her breath. This is not the woman society polished. This is the one who remembers the salt taste of her own blood, the one whose roots tap deep into the collective unconscious where archetypes stir. She is the embodiment of the dark goddess, not evil, but essential. The untamed feminine force Carl Jung knew resided in the depths of every psyche, male and female. She is Hecate at the crossroads, Kali the destroyer and creator, Lilith who refused submission. Her power isn't wielded like a sword. It radiates from a core of sacred sensuality, a magnetism that bypasses the conscious mind and speaks directly to the primal layers of a man's being. It commands not through demand, but through an undeniable presence that stirs his deepest, often forbidden longings. How does this ancient energy, this fusion of spirit and earthbound desire, command the intricate landscape of the masculine psyche? How does it bypass his ego's fortress and resonate within his very soul? The answer lies not in manipulation, but in the profound, often terrifying act of a woman reclaiming her full, unapologetic essence. Imagine the masculine psyche as a complex, guarded citadel. The ego, vigilant and structured, mans the walls. Logic is its preferred language, control its cherished weapon. Yet, beneath these formidable defenses lies a different terrain, the shadow realm, the reservoir of repressed desires, primal instincts, and the unintegrated feminine, the anima. This is where the dark goddess walks. She doesn't knock politely at the gate. She appears within the inner courtyard, a figure conjured from the man's own depths. Her sacred sensuality is the key. It isn't mere physical allure, though it encompasses it. It's sensuality imbued with consciousness, a deep awareness of her own life force, her pleasure, her connection to something vast and timeless. It's the way she moves, not for an audience, but in communion with her own rhythm, the deliberate grace of pouring tea, the unconscious sweep of hair from her neck, the full-bodied sigh after laughter. This authenticity is a mirror held up to his own hidden depths, reflecting aspects he may fear yet desperately craves. It whispers of the wildness he's caged, the vulnerability he denies, the connection to the numinous he's forgotten. His logical mind scrambles, but his soul recognizes her. She speaks the language of his own unconscious yearning. Do you feel it? That subtle shift when you stop performing desirability and simply inhabit your sensual being. When you touch your own skin, not with critique, but with reverence for the vessel that carries your spirit, that's the first tremor. It bypasses his conscious filters, vibrating in the space between you. He doesn't understand it cognitively, he senses it. A primal alertness stirs within him. It's the scent of rain on warm earth, the low thrum before a storm, inexplicably compelling, hinting at forces beyond his control. This is the dark goddess awakening, not for him, but despite him. Her power lies in her detachment from his approval or comprehension. She is a force of nature, not a supplicant. Think of Seneca's stoic detachment, not cold indifference, but an inner citadel of self-possession. Her sacred sensuality flows from this inner wellspring, untouched by his validation or lack thereof. She moves through the world grounded in her own worth, her pleasure sourced internally. This very detachment, this lack of need, becomes magnetic. It creates a gravitational pull because it stands in stark contrast to the projections and demands his ego is accustomed to navigating. He cannot manipulate what doesn't seek anything from him. He can only witness, and within that witnessing, his own psyche begins to stir, confronting its own shadows, the fear of the feminine, the terror of the unknown, the repressed desire for surrender to something greater than his fragile ego. Marcus Aurelius sought inner tranquility through reason. The dark goddess embodies it through embodied sovereignty. Her presence forces a choice: retreat behind higher walls, or risk the descent into his own depths to meet her there. The command she exerts is not domination, but invitation. It's the invitation into shadow work, often initiated by the sheer force of her integrated presence. When a woman embodies her sacred sensuality, owning her desires without shame, her darkness without apology, her creative fire without dilution, she becomes a living embodiment of the anima in her most potent form. She reflects back to him not the sanitized, pleasing image, but the complex, challenging, vital feminine energy within himself. This reflection is profoundly confronting. His shadow, the repository of his denied weaknesses, his secret fears, his unexplored passions, is suddenly illuminated. Her comfort with her own depths makes his discomfort with his own glaringly obvious. If she can embrace her wildness, her rage, her profound tenderness, why can't he? This is where the command manifests, not as external control, but as an internal compulsion within him to integrate what has been split off. Her sacred sensuality, expressed through unwavering self-acceptance, becomes the catalyst for his potential individuation. It whispers of wholeness, a state far more terrifying, yet infinitely more desirable than the safety of his fragmented ego. Epictetus spoke of focusing only on what is within our control. The dark goddess exemplifies this, controlling only her own inner realm, her own sensual experience. This radical self-ownership is what the masculine psyche, starved for authenticity beneath layers of persona, finds utterly intoxicating and deeply unsettling. It triggers a holy obsession not with her, but with the possibility of his own becoming that her presence reveals. This path demands courage. To invoke the dark goddess is to dance with fire. It means confronting your own trauma not as a victim, but as an alchemist. It means looking into the abyss of abandonment wounds, societal conditioning, and the fear of your own power, and choosing to reclaim every fragmented piece. Your sacred sensuality is forged in this crucible. It's the warmth that remains after the cold touch of betrayal, the vibrancy that pulses beneath the scars of neglect. It's the deep, resonant yes, spoken from a place of healed no's. When you anchor your pleasure, your sensuality, in this bedrock of healed trauma and unwavering self-esteem, it ceases to be a performance. It becomes an emanation of your soul's sovereignty. Can you feel the shift? When you stop seeking confirmation in his eyes and find it in the quiet hum of your own satisfied being? When your touch on your own body is an act of devotion, not a rehearsal for another's gaze. This is the unassailable fortress. This inner sanctuary, built on the ashes of past pain and the fierce commitment to your own wholeness, is what radiates a command far beyond the physical. It speaks of resilience, depth, and an inner peace that cannot be shaken. He senses a completeness in you that he unconsciously craves for himself. A completeness born not of having everything, but of being everything to oneself. This is the ultimate spiritual femininity. The integration of light and dark, strength and softness, spirit and earth, within one sovereign being. It whispers of mysteries he yearns to understand, but knows he must first discover within his own soul's landscape. The journey culminates not in possession, but in profound liberation. The dark goddess, fully embodied, understands that true power lies in the freedom of her own spirit. She is the deep ocean, vast, mysterious, moving to its own lunar rhythm, impossible to contain or command. Her sacred sensuality is the tide, powerful and natural, shaping the shore but belonging to the depths. She knows that the intense pull a man feels, the command over his psyche, is simply the resonance of his own soul recognizing its reflection in her wholeness. It's an echo of his potential, not a chain she forges. This understanding brings a detachment as deep as the ocean floor. She is no longer invested in his reactions, his pursuit, or his resistance. Her worth is an internal sun, warming her from within. She engages from a place of overflowing abundance, not hungry need. She chooses connection, intimacy, pleasure, but only when it aligns with her own sacred rhythm, her own sovereign truth. The frantic chase, the anxious need for validation, the manipulation of feminine wiles, these are discarded like old skins. She stands rooted in her own being, a testament to the transformative fire of shadow work and the serene strength of integrated stoic resolve. The storms may come, the citadels of masculine ego may tremble or retreat, but the deep ocean remains, calm in its abyssal heart. She has faced her darkness, embraced her light, and found the unshakable peace that comes from knowing her own infinite value. She moves through the world now, not as a seeker, but as a sovereign. Her presence is a quiet revolution, a testament to the power that awakens when a woman reclaims her birthright, the fierce, sensual, spiritual essence of the divine feminine in all its dark, glorious majesty. She offers no explanations, demands no allegiance. She simply is, and in that profound being, radiating sacred sensuality from a core of unassailable freedom, lies the ultimate, unspoken command, the invitation, whispered on the wind, for all to remember their own depths. The woman who knows her worth doesn't chase, she chooses, END.